get started. We've got like 2 minutes, but we can start our practice by just getting situated in a nice, comfortable position, nice seated asana. Right, so if you have yoga blocks at home, it's always good to have them handy. If you don't, it's not required, it's not necessary. Right? I just like to place one under my seat, right, when we start the class, because it just helps to lift my hips. It actually sends my hips more forward so I can sit up taller, right? But again, it's not necessary. You can just come into a nice tall spine, even like a rolled up blanket underneath the seat works. Right, just come into a nice tall spine. Go ahead and roll your shoulders back and down. Right, if you want to mute your settings, that would be cool too. Unless you have, like I always say, if you have a question, feel free to shout at me. Right, but again, just coming into that nice tall spine. Start to find the breath. Right, slowly inhaling, slowly exhaling. Maybe on the exhale, you feel your shoulders start to relax down away from your ears. Let your arms find a nice, comfortable place to rest, right? Wherever that is that feels comfortable for you. Right? There's lots of different mudras. If you have a particular mudra or a favorite mudra that you like, so mudra just literally means gesture, right? And different mudras benefit different things. We often use them in meditation, right? But just allowing the arms and the hands to rest wherever they feel comfortable. And scanning the body, maybe head to toe or toe to head, wherever you want to start. Right? Just kind of scanning and looking for places that may feel tight or tense. Right? And not even to that extreme. It can feel like a gripping sensation. Like right now I feel it in my knees. So I'm going to direct my attention there and see if I can soften my knees. Right? You might feel it in the belly. That's another thing about the block, sitting on a block or blanket. I don't have to engage my core as much here. I can, good morning, Mark, how are you? Good. We kind of started, so we're just kind of finding our seat and, right, just kind of noticing the kinks. Right, when I say kinks, I just mean any little areas in the body that feel like there's something going on. And just connecting with the breath. Right, that nice slow inhale, slight constriction at the back of the throat. Nice slow exhale, again, that slight constriction. So it's like your breath is making those ocean wave sounds in and out. So I lost my train of thought. So sitting on the block or blanket lifts the seat, sends the hips forward, allows us to sit up nice and tall so that when we come into this posture, this seated asana, we can relax the belly for a bit, right? Because a lot of times we'll come into a seated asana, they'll say engage your core, stand up nice and tall, or sit up nice and tall, but sometimes it's nice to just close our eyes, let the belly muscles relax. Right? We're so concerned about letting our bellies just kind of hang out, you know, so let your belly relax. Last week we did the belly breathing, right? If you want to send some breath into that area, obviously we can't breathe into the belly. The belly is, we can only breathe into our lungs, but meaning that you're breathing in and feeling the belly expand. Right, so if that suits you this morning, taking some belly breaths. Right, and once you feel nice and calm, you feel that centered groundedness, you feel the spine, there's no kinks in your garden hose. Right, then we can start to get dialed into our practice. So if you want to bring your hands to prayer in front of the heart, right, take a moment to set an intention or dedicate our practice. Right, always collectively just kind of sending up prayers for Mother Earth, right, the planet, and for those who are sick and suffering with the virus. And we'll open with 3 vibrations of Om. So taking a nice big inhale. May all beings be happy and free from suffering. And then when you're ready, just slowly floating the eyes open. Right? I think I started like a minute or 2 early, so I apologize for those that came in at 8 and we were already kind of beginning. But it's all good, right? We can all just kind of jump in. So welcome, good morning. It's a beautiful day. So I like to come off my block. So we're going to do a couple of spinal twists just to start. Right? So just coming into your comfortable seat. Let's bring the right hand behind, right at the base of the spine, and then just take a nice big inhale with the left arm. Create that nice spinal extension. And then exhale. We'll bring the left hand across the right knee, right? And start at like the low spine, work into the mid spine and then the upper spine. Right, and then maybe just looking over your back shoulder, your right shoulder. Right, breathing here, sitting up nice and tall. That right hand is kind of helping you to lift the spine up. Right, think about corkscrewing upward. And then holding the twist with our body and then just turning the head to look over the left shoulder. I notice the older I get, the less mobility I have in my neck, and it kind of bothers me. Right? And then come back to center, and I see my grandson, and he could literally almost like turn his head around full circle. He's so flexible. All right, so we'll bring the left hand behind, right at the base of the spine. Nice big inhale with the right arm. And then exhale, we'll twist left. And again, just keep going. So if we keep moving these things and keep practicing, right, we'll maintain as much flexibility as we possibly can the older we get. Right, keeping things moving is the most important thing. Right, and then holding the seat and then just turning to look over the right shoulder. Right, and then we'll just kind of let everything come back to center. So however you're seated, we're just going to bring the hands like alongside the hips and use I like to tent my fingers. I'm just gonna lift up my chest. So kind of like puff up the chest and roll the heads of your shoulders back, right? So if you were looking in a mirror, your shoulders would kind of like disappear, right? And if it feels okay, you can look up at the ceiling. Okay, and then release, and then go ahead and drop your chin to your chest. And optional, if you want, you can bring your hands to the back of the head, interlace the fingers, and just allow a little bit of gentle weight to rest on your head to let your neck get a nice stretch. And then we'll pick the head up from here. So keeping the hands where they are, again, you're going to lift the chest and try to press your head into your hands and your hands into your head and lift up. Okay, so you really feel this in the upper spine. And then go ahead and release. All right, from here, we're just going to walk the hands out. So we're going to take a forward fold. Try to keep the back nice and flat, right? Try to lead with like the heart or the sternum and just walk the hands forward. Right? Once you come as far as you're going to go, then go ahead and round in. You can relax the shoulders, relax the head. Try to keep the seat really glued down. Don't let the seat lift up. And then we'll take a little walk with our hands over to the right. And again, keeping that seat glued down. Don't let your left hip move as you reach over to the right. Think of your hip as being like the anchor of the stretch. So you want to drop your anchor right there at the left hip. Reach over to the right. And then we'll walk the hands back through center and over to the left. Right? So now we're dropping the anchor on our right hip. And we'll walk the hands back to center and come back up to sit, right? So however you're seated, we're gonna change the orientation of the legs. So you're just gonna, my left leg is in front, I'm gonna flip it to the back, and now my right leg is in front. So this is my not usual way of sitting. It feels very awkward to me, but we're gonna do the same exact stretch we just did with our legs switched, right? So again, we're just gonna bring the hands on either side of the hips. Go ahead and lift the chest, roll the shoulders back. If it feels okay, you can look up at the ceiling. Right, and then go ahead and come forward, drop your chin to your chest. Maybe interlace the hands behind the head. So as you do this, we're not rounding forward, we're keeping the spine tall and just dropping the chin. Right, looking for that nice stretch at the back of the neck. And then go ahead and lift up, and again, just pressing the head into the hands, hands into the head, lift the heart. Right, and release. And when you release, start to walk the hands forward. And this time we'll walk the hands over to the left side first. And then back through center and over to the right. And then come back to center, and we'll walk the hands back in toward the body. Right? From here, we're just going to roll over our knees, and we're going to come to lie on our bellies for a little bit here. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure everybody was on yet, but if you have blocks or a strap, it's always good to have those handy, right? We may or may not do something. I have something in mind, but we'll see how it goes with everybody. So just go ahead and lie on the belly. If you want, you can rest on your right cheek for a moment, right? Just take a little moment here in Shavasana, just breathing. Right, it's something that feels pretty good on the low back, just to loosen things up. You can go ahead and bend your knees, and then just gently windshield wiper the legs from side to side. That's going to help loosen up like the low back. It's also a pretty cool massage for the front of your legs, the quadricep muscle. So we're going to do a little bit of back bending here. I know sometimes that makes people a little nervous, but we're going to take it nice and slow and easy, so just always listen to yourself first. The most important thing with back bending is that you always want to do some twists first. So we did our seated twists, right? We'll bring the legs back to center. Go ahead and let them rest on the floor, and then come to the forehead. So if you ever experience pain in twist, you never want to go further into like back bending. So here we're going to target our upper back. We're just going to slowly kind of walk through cobra pose, right? So let's bring our forehead to the mat, and we're going to bring our hands underneath the shoulders, right? So go ahead and place your hands under the shoulders, and then feel that squeezing of the shoulder blades together, and feel the elbows hugging in toward the rib cage. From here, we're going to really press down into the tops of our feet, the tops of the legs, even tilt our pelvis under, kind of like you're tucking your tail under. And then from here, we're going to drag the nose forward, right? Drop the chin on the mat and look forward, right? And then from here, we're just going to start to peel our chest up off the floor. Keep the shoulders away from the ears, right? And really don't forget to press into the legs. That's really important here. And then see if you can lift your hands up off the mat, right? So we're strictly using back muscles here. And you don't have to straighten the neck and look forward. You can look right to where your mat meets the floor. Right? And then bring the hands back to the mat. And if you want, you can press up a little bit more here, keeping all those things in mind. Squeezing the elbows in, squeezing the shoulder blades together, letting the shoulders have a nice distance away from the ears, right? And then from here, slowly lower down. As soon as you can let go of the hands, float yourself all the way back to the floor. Go ahead and rest on your left cheek, right? And then from here, just bending the knees, windshield wiper from side to side. These are typically my least favorite things to do, these back strengthening exercises, but they are super beneficial. Right? We always think of the core as like our ab muscles. We always want strong abs, but our core is literally all the muscles that support the spine. So we want to strengthen these back muscles as well. And then go ahead and let your legs come back to the floor. So in my lineage, Dharma Mitra, he would have us bring our feet together. It's really tough to do. So if you're just starting with Cobra, I would suggest let the feet be a distance that feels comfortable for you. Right? And then forehead to the floor, hands underneath the shoulders, elbows in. Again, just drag the nose forward, drop the chin, look forward. Keep tucking that pelvis under, right? And then lifting up, peeling the chest up off the mat. Lifting the shoulders up and away from the ears. Right? Go ahead and release the hands. See if you can hold it here. Remember to breathe. A lot of times we forget to breathe in these types of postures. Right? And then hands come back to the floor, and if you want, come up a little bit more. Right? So the tricky thing with Cobra, the hips stay on the floor. I see a lot of people straightening the arms and lifting their hips up, but the hips stay down for Cobra. Right? Upward facing dog is where we lift them up off the floor. And then slowly lower down. As soon as you can, release the hands. Go ahead and float the rest of the way down. Right? Resting on your right cheek. Bend the knees, windshield wiper from side to side, or maybe take some circles around with the legs. You can go one way and then the other. Right? Whatever feels good for you. right? So I mentioned the quad muscles before. We're gonna come into a quad stretch. So sometimes this is difficult for some people. So let's just try it here. We're gonna come up and just go ahead and roll onto your right side. So I'm like kind of rolled onto my side here. I'm going to bend my knee and then grab my ankle, right? Once I have hold of my ankle, then I'm gonna roll back onto my belly. This sometimes makes it a little easier to be able to grasp the leg. And then from here, right, I can stay up on my elbow if I want. I'm just gonna start to pull my foot in toward my seat, right? So if you had a strap, this would be a great thing to use as, to help you if you can't grab the foot. And I'm just gonna check it with you guys. So, yeah, hopefully we all have, not everybody is in my frame of view, but it looks like we're all doing it pretty easily, right? So as you start to progress with this kind of quad stretch, not necessary. Today, some people can come up, like press into the hand and come straight the arm, right? So it makes it a little bit more of a back bend, right? And then we'll slowly, right, release. And if you can, just come onto your left elbow and reach back and grab the foot, then go for it, right? If you need to do that little trick where you roll, right, find the foot and then roll back, that's cool too. Right, so we'll just give those quad muscles a nice stretch. Right, and then release, and we'll come back to our bellies. Right, just for a breath here. And then slowly pressing ourselves up. Let's bring our knees together, right, and press up. We'll come into embryo pose, right? So not child's pose. We'll keep the knees together. Send your seat back toward the heels. Let your forehead rest on the floor. And then instead of reaching the arms forward, let's bring the arms alongside the legs. So the hands are back by the feet. Just let your shoulders drape over the knees. Take a little breather here. And then we'll start to press up slowly, right? So we can kind of sit on the heels if that's comfortable for you. We're just gonna tuck the toes under like that and then sit back on the heels. So this is actually a really good stretch for the toes. It may not feel like much to some of you, but this is really good if you experience like cramps in your feet, and you can just tuck the toes and sit back. Right, there's a few different ways I like to stretch the toes. This is one of them. And then from here, I'm gonna lift my seat up off of the heels, right? So if you needed some cushion, now would be a good time to place the cushion underneath the legs. So we're gonna come into, Dharma calls this rabbit pose, right? It's very similar to camel, Ustrasana. The difference being that our toes are tucked under, right? We don't wanna come to the tops of the feet. We're gonna keep the feet tucked under. And to start here, the most important thing is to keep the hips forward. So sometimes I practice this on a wall. When there's a wall in front of me, I just keep pressing my hips into the wall. But since we don't all have walls in front of us, we'll just pretend we have a wall. And then we're just gonna take our hands behind. I like to have my fingers pointing down, and I'm just gonna place them if I have like pockets pretty high up on my back. And again, I'm gonna squeeze the shoulder blades together. Try to roll the heads of the shoulders back, send the hips forward, and start to lift my chest as though somebody had like a string or something attached and was lifting me up by my chest. Right? And then from here, if it feels okay, you can go ahead and drop the head back a little bit. And then to come out of this pose, it's the same feeling as though someone's lifting you by your chest. You're coming up and out of the pose, and we'll come right into tabletop from here. Right, once you're in your tabletop, we'll take a few rounds of cat and cow. So you can move however you like. Try to let your breath be the kind of leader of the movement. Right, so when you need to inhale, let the spine sag, look forward. And when you need to exhale, round, tuck the chin. Right, just a few rounds. Right, and don't rush through. We're going to finish with our, after our next cat pose, right? So take your last cat pose, and we'll come back into this position. So we're going to tuck the toes, right, coming up onto the knees, right? So this time we can do the same thing, if that felt good, to just kind of lift the chest, or we can maybe send the hips forward, right, and reach one heel, right? So I'm just touching my heel, I'm not actually grabbing on. Just touching my heel, sending my hips forward, and then my other arm can come up like this, right? And if I want to switch sides, I can just send my seat back, right? Find my other heel, lift up and lift my arm, and I can kind of turn this into a nice flow, just going side to side. And my back actually feels a little bit stiff this morning, right? So you just want to check in with how you're feeling and how far you want to go with it. Right? If you come to the point where you want to grab both heels, send the hips forward, let the head drop back. Right? And then again, we're going to find that tabletop, and we'll do again a couple rounds of cat and cow. So just, right, inhaling, let the spine sag, look forward. Exhale, hollow it out. Right, press the back of the heart up toward the ceiling. Right, and after your next cat pose, again, just coming into neutral spine. From our neutral spine, let's go ahead and send the left leg back, coming to the ball of the foot. Right, and we'll take a couple rocks forward and back. Right, next time you rock forward, see if you can square your hips off, so both hip points pointing toward the floor. Go ahead and lift that left leg off the floor. Right, try not to hike the hip though, keep the hip pointing down, and then reach forward with the right arm. Right, the head and neck are nice and neutral, just looking straight down at the mat, stretching and reaching in both directions. Right, this is another one of those stretches that strengthen the back muscles, right, the glutes, the low back. And then go ahead and see if you can place the hand and the knee down at the same time mindfully. And then we'll switch sides. So right leg goes back, pressing out through the heel. And then just start to take your rocks forward and back. Right, when you feel ready, go ahead and lift the right leg up, press out through the heel, try to square the hips as much as you can. And then reach the left arm forward, just like you're going to shake someone's hand, right? We don't usually use our left hand to shake someone's hand, but that same kind of gesture, that mudra that we use when we go to shake someone's hand. Get a nice stretch here, right? And then slowly, again, mindfully place the hand and knee down. Right, we're gonna do that one more time, and since we've already kind of warmed up our quads a bit, I think maybe some of us can try this one. So we're going to send the left leg back. Go ahead and lift the leg up. Right? If you can, bend the knee and then reach around with your right hand. See if you can find your foot. Once you grab hold of the foot, you can pull your heel in toward the seat, or you can kick your foot into the hand, right? And get a nice stretch here. So it's like stretching the front of my right shoulder. And it's a little bit of a balancing act, so right, it's gonna awaken that core muscles, right? And then again, releasing, setting the hand and knee down, switching sides, right leg back, right? Go ahead and lift it up, Bend the knee, maybe reach back. Right? If this is not something you want to do, you can just go ahead and do what we did the first time. Again, you can pull the heel in toward the seat, or you can kick the foot away, opening the front of the left shoulder. Stay strong in that right arm. Keep pressing down into the right hand. Right? And then release, and hand and knee come down. Let's make the knees a bit wider. Let's bring the toes and heels, the toes, big toes to touch. Send your seat back toward the heels and reach the arms forward. We'll take a few breaths in our child's pose here. So I really feel this in my hips right now because we haven't done much to warm up like the inner thighs, the hips. There's so many different ways to, people think pigeon is like the end all be all for hip stretches, but there's so many different ways to get into the hips. Right, and some of us are really flexible in some ways, and then other ways we're not at all. So, you know, hip flexibility is pretty interesting. Right, so after we do some back bending too, it's always a good idea to end with twists. So you always want to like start off by twisting before back bends, and you always want to finish your back bends with some twisting. So we'll come into a child's pose twist here. So we're going to walk the hands back, right, maybe about halfway. We'll inhale, circle the left arm up to the ceiling, or just kind of opening up, and then exhale, let's thread it through, gently landing. Right, and this right arm can do whatever you like. So if you want to reach toward the front of the mat, right, maybe you want to wrap that right arm around, or just keep it right by your face, right, tented for support. And if the head is, you know, if you have a hard time getting your head to reach the floor, you can always put a little blanket underneath or a pillow or something. And then let's come back to center, and we'll go the other way. So nice big inhale, right arm. Right, exhale, thread it through. Gently landing on the right cheek. And that left arm is just wherever you want to put it. I used to love wrapping it around my low back, but now my favorite way to do it is just reach toward the front of the mat. All right, and then we'll come back to center from here, right? So this is a little bit of a challenge. We're gonna tuck the toes under, right? Keep the knees wide. See if you can come up. This is called tiptoe pose, right? See if you can balance on your toes here, right? So my knees are wide. I'm up on the balls of my feet. I wanna try to keep my spine up tall. I can rest my hands on the knees. Right? Or maybe I can bring my hands to prayer in front of the heart. Right? Lastly, the real challenge would be to try to get the hands overhead. Right? Bring the arms up overhead. Right? So you can come up to stand however you like, but I want to challenge you to use your leg strength. Right? Bring the knees together and then just press on up to stand. It's a little tricky, and then release the arms down. Right. So once you're standing, go ahead and shake out the legs a little bit, shake out the arms. I'm going to adjust my camera so I can get my recording. I'm just cutting off my head. Right. It's good to shake things out a little bit. Right. So let's go ahead and just shake the hands here. Right. Just shake them like that. And then turn them up like you're screwing in a light bulb, just side to side. Like that. And then just go ahead and release. And we're gonna do like a little standing sort of side bend, flowy movement. So my feet are a little bit wider than hips width. And I'm gonna bring my right arm down, and I'm just gonna inhale my left arm overhead, right? And then just take a reach over. And then I'm gonna just kind of flow from side to side. So you'll notice like my right arm is reaching over. I need to press my right foot really down into the floor to really root down. And we're just going to go from side to side. Right, and then next time you're transitioning to the side, inhale up, exhale, just kind of hold it here. Right, and then inhale up, exhale, hold. Right, and then come up, we'll bring both arms up. Go ahead and grab your left wrist with your right hand. Right, inhale and then exhale, side bend to the right. Right, and this is only if your spine allows and it feels comfortable. From here, can you kind of spiral up toward the ceiling? Right, so it's kind of like I'm taking my side bend and then I'm rooting the feet down and looking up at the ceiling. Right, and then that really stretches the front of the hip. We'll come back to center, inhale, grab the right wrist, inhale, lift up, exhale, bend to the left, right? And if you can, spiral. Right, come back to center and then release the arms down. Right, so it's a little bit of a different, it's kind of tricky to get the rib cage to kind of spiral up, but you'll feel if the legs are rooted down, you'll feel a nice stretch there. Right, and then let's start, we'll do this one, we'll bring the arms out in front so the fingertips are crossed, or my thumbs are crossed over one another. We'll take a twist, right, so the feet are forward, hips are forward, inhale here, exhale, we'll twist to the right. Keep the hips forward, just move the arms to the right. Right, so you really feel a nice strong twist here. And then inhale, center, right, exhale, twist to the left, so the hips are forward, arms are reaching to the left. And then inhale, center, and then release the arms down. All right, so we'll do a couple of standing balancing poses. If anyone has a favorite, feel free to unmute yourself and tell me. Otherwise, I'm just going to go into, whatever I feel led to do. Right, so I always love tree pose. Tree pose is one of my favorites. Right, we'll start on our left foot. And you want to get nice and rooted down, right? So you want to really spread the toes, really flatten your foot into the mat. I also like to bend my knees a few times because what that does is really help engage the muscle, which is what we want when we're doing standing balancing poses. We don't want to lock the knees, we don't want to lock the joints, right? And then once we feel nice and strong in this left leg, go ahead and bring your right foot. You can either do like a kickstand, resting the heel up on the leg. You can bring the foot to the shin, right? Or maybe you can get it up really high. Sometimes clothing plays a factor here. Like if you have slippery yoga clothes, your foot just slips right out. But wherever you are, right, really open up the knee, try to tuck your tail under, pulling up on the kneecap. So all these things are going to strengthen your pose, right? Engage the core, right? From here, hands come to prayer, right? So everything is kind of pressing into this midline of the body. Right, hands come together, foot is pressing into the leg. Right, try to tuck the tail under. Keep everything nice and strong here. Right, so we're going to do a little challenge in our tree pose. Normally we would bring the arms overhead, and that feels great too. Let's bring our arms out to the sides. Right, so we'll bring the arms out to the sides. Let's take an inhale here. And on the exhale, we're going to twist. So we're going to twist to face the right knee. So I'm twisting to my right. Keeping my body the way it is, just moving the arms. If you really want to challenge yourself, try to look over your right hand. Right? It's really tricky. And then slowly, right? You always want to move the gaze nice and slow. Come back to center on the inhale. Right? If you fall out, no big deal. You just come right in, come back in, and then inhale. This time we're going to twist to the left. Right? So the legs stay right where they are. The upper body twists over to the left. right? Gazing over your left hand. Right, and then inhaling back to center, nice and steady. And then go ahead and release the arms and release the legs. Go ahead and shake, especially that left leg out, right? That standing leg is really getting a workout by holding that pose for so long, right? And we'll switch to the other side, right? So second side, go ahead and flatten the foot, spread the toes, maybe bounce a little bit, find that muscle, right? Once that leg is feeling nice and strong, left foot, try to do the same variation you did on the other side if you don't have an injury that prevents you from doing it the same, right? And finding your pose first, we'll find our tree pose, right? Tuck the tail under, pull the belly up, shoulders back, so everything's nice and tall here. Right? Think of a big steady tree. We have lots of those around here. They're just amazing. They're just so old and big and, oh, wow. Right, I love trees. We'll bring the arms out to the side. All right, nice big inhale. When you're ready, twisting to the left side first. Right, again, so if you're moving and your gaze is moving, let it go slowly. Sometimes if we move too quickly, right, it really throws us off. And again, challenge is to look over the backhand, the left hand. Try to go further than you think you can. Reach that right arm forward, reach the left arm back. You'd be surprised, right? You think you're as far as you can go, and then you're like, wow, I can actually go a little further here. Right? And then slowly coming back. Right? Eyes move slowly. Coming back to center, inhale. Right? Exhale. Twist to the right this time. Right? It's a little harder to go to the right, just the way our body's positioned. But again, try to reach back with the right arm and reach forward with the left. Right? Turn and maybe look over the right hand. Right? And then let's bring it back to center. Right? Release the arms, release the legs. Go ahead and shake it out a bit. All right, we'll do one more standing pose, and then we'll come back on the floor, do some nice stretches. We'll again get grounded in that left leg. So this one is, it's a variation of Garudasana, eagle pose. So we're gonna cross our right foot over the left, right? So I don't know if you guys can see my foot, but I'm just coming up onto the ball of my foot and my right leg is crossed over, right? If you wanna go a little further, you can bend that standing leg, bend the left leg, and then the right leg is crossed over, but it's lifted off the floor, right? So in full eagle, we wrap the toes around the calf, which I'm not even gonna do, and I'm not gonna ask you guys to do because I'm really stiff in the morning and that does not feel good in my body, right? So just getting the legs situated where you like. We're gonna bring the arms out to the sides one more time, right? So the right leg is over, so this means the right arm is gonna come under the left arm, and you're just gonna grab your shoulders, right? Just hugging their shoulders. From here, let your shoulders slide down the back a little bit, right? And then if you want, you can sit a little deeper. If you want to take eagle arms, you can grab your left thumb with your right hand, if you have eagle arms, right? If you want to play around here, you can start to lift the elbows up, right? The thing about the shoulders is they're not attached to the spine and they slide up and down. And sometimes it's nice to kind of move them, right, up and down a little bit. And then from here, just go ahead and release the arms, and we'll kind of come out and kick, right? So it's kind of like a fun way to come out. Just come out and kick that right leg up in the air, kick the arms up, right? And then we'll switch sides. So right foot down. So this is, if it's hard for you to balance, you're struggling, just cross the foot over and stay on the ball of the foot, right? If you want to go further, bend the knee, right? Arms come out to the side. So whatever leg is over, the opposite arm is gonna come under. So our left leg is over, we're gonna bring our left arm under the right arm. Grab the shoulders. Once you have them, let the shoulders slide down, right? Maybe take your eagle arms. And then again, if you wanna sit a little deeper, if you wanna lift, right? Some people like to come forward. We didn't do this on the other side, but it all just depends on, right, your practice and what feels comfortable for you. Right, and then again, just slowly unraveling, kick the leg up, reach the arms up. I think of eagle pose. When I come out of eagle pose, it's like the eagle is flying away. Right? I don't know, silly, but I always think that. All right, so we're gonna come down onto our backs. We'll do a few stretches before our Shavasana. So, right, getting down there however you like. Okay, and then, right, once you're here, let's go ahead and reach the arms up overhead. Take a nice stretch. Reach out through your fingertips. Reach out through your toes, right? If it feels good, you can alternate, reach out through the heels, right? So you can kind of do both, through the toes, then through the heels. Like Kelly and I were talking, I've been doing a lot of like walking and running lately, so stretching out through the heels feels really nice because I can stretch my calves here, right? And then on your next exhale, draw the left knee into the chest. Press out through your right heel here, so really activate that quadricep muscle. Let the shoulders relax now. Hug the left knee in. Right, if you can, interlace the hands behind the leg. Right, straighten the leg any amount. Doesn't have to be fully straight. You can keep the knee bent. If you want to slide the hands up a little further on the leg, you can. Or you can also use a strap here. Let's go for a hamstring stretch. Right? Even if you're just holding the leg up a bit higher, let the shoulders relax down toward the floor. Right? Normally from here I would drop the leg out to the side, but we're running a little low on time, and I actually really want to do this other stretch. So if you want to stretch the outer part of the left leg, you can go ahead and take your strap or take your peace fingers or however you want. We're going to bring the leg across the body. This can be done with the knee bent too. Like if you want to turn it into a twist and just kind of bring that left knee over, right? Or you can keep the leg somewhat straight and bring it over like this, right? Try to keep both shoulders on the floor. Again, a strap would be really ideal here. I don't have one, so I'm just kind of holding my foot. And you want to try to relax as much as you can. So I'm getting a really great stretch on the outer part of my left leg, right? Some people would call this an IT band stretch, but the IT band is not a muscle, and so it can't really be stretched. I just like to call this like an outer left leg stretch, right? And then we'll bring it back to center, right? And then just slowly bring the leg back to the floor, right? So we work on the core here. We bring those lower abdominals, really engage them as we lower the leg toward the floor. Once the foot is all the way down, again, inhale, reach the arms up overhead, stretch out through the fingers and toes, fingers and heels. On the exhale, draw your right knee in. So hug that right knee in, send the left heel away, shoulders relax. Right, hamstring stretch, however you want to do it. If you want to hold the leg, if you want to grab your strap, right? Paying attention to the differences in each side. Like my right leg is way tighter than my left. Right, so I want to just take it easy here. I don't want to force anything. I don't want to say to myself, wow, I can do this on the left, and I must do it on the right. No, my right side is a little different today. It may not be tomorrow. And then we'll go for that outer right leg. We're gonna cross the leg across the body. Again, the knee can be bent and just bring it over, right? Or you can keep the leg long and drop it over. And you may not bring it all the way to the floor. Right here, my right leg doesn't want to go very far today, right? So that's okay. I'm going to stay where I am on this side. There's a lot of tightness going on, right? And this could be an imbalance when I run. Maybe I am not really. So it's good to get to know your body, is basically what I'm saying, like knowing all the little quirks and things like that we tend to hold stress in different areas, we tend to tighten up in different areas, right? Our sweet spots, basically. Right? And then just go ahead and bring the leg back up, right? This time we'll hug both knees into the chest and just rock a little from side to side, or take some circles, bring your hands to the tops of the knees and go around a few times, one way and then the other. You can do your opposite circles. So basically anything that feels good, right? We're kind of ending our practice here. We're going to come into our Shavasana. I thought maybe we would do like a guided relaxation today, which is kind of nice. It's you don't have to really do anything at all, other than just relax and listen. All right, so when you are ready, go ahead and bring your legs out nice and long. Let your feet flop out to the sides. Let the arms be wide, palms up. Right? Maybe tuck the shoulder blades under a little bit. Right? Sometimes it's helpful to lift the head, tuck the chin, and then place the head back down. And that just kind of helps to lengthen the back of the neck. And then from here, if you want to rock the head a little bit left and right, and then just allowing it to land in that perfect spot. Right? Let your head and body be nice and heavy and loose. Right? We'll just run through a quick guided relaxation. So again, you just have to lie back and listen. Right? We'll start by relaxing the soles of the feet. Relax the tops of your feet and your toes. Relax your ankles, calves and shins. Relax your knees, thighs, hamstrings. Feel that both of your legs are very heavy, very loose, and relaxed. Relax the palms of your hands, the back of your hands, all of your fingers and your thumbs. Relax your wrists, forearms, elbows, upper arms, and relax the shoulders, both arms heavy and loose. And bringing your awareness to your back. Right, starting with the very low back, your glutes, relaxing the lumbar spine, the low spine. Relax your mid-spine, mid-back. Relax the upper back, back of the shoulders, the back of the neck. Feel that heaviness. Exhaling any remaining tension. Relaxing the front of the body, pelvic area, abdominal area. Relax your rib cage, chest, collarbones. You can even suggest to your internal organs to relax. Right, feeling that relaxation moving into the neck and into the face. Releasing, relaxing the jaw. The cheeks and ears. Relax the eyes, eyebrows, temples, forehead. Releasing any tension in the face, smoothing out the wrinkles in the forehead. Letting the eyebrows relax away from one another. Really feel that softening, relaxing the scalp. And definitely relaxing the brain here. Just allowing your body to be by itself for the next minute. Allowing your breath to just breathe by itself. No controlling. And just allowing yourself to be unconcerned. So from here we can start to bring our awareness back to the body, back to our breath. I'm just going to play a mantra here and give you guys a chance to come out slowly. So please do not feel rushed. You have the entire length of this song to make your way back to sit. So enjoy the relaxation. Shiva I said, you're home, so if you want to rest in Shavasana longer, you can, right? Or if you'd like to join me in closing out our practice. Right, again, take your time, don't rush up to sit. Right, so we can create some really beautiful relaxation in Shavasana, so we come out feeling very refreshed, very relaxed. So the last thing we want to do is like rush back to sit, right? So for those of you that are seated, if you want to help me close out with one Om, three Shantis, maybe bring your hands to Anjali Mudra, Lotus Mudra, any kind of, again, mudra, right? Take a nice deep breath in. Be receptive. Om Shanti. Namaste. Thank you guys for coming. Namaste. Have a beautiful day. It looks so... Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. It's nice to see everyone. So, see you next week. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks. Bye-bye. Enjoy.